everyone. Look at this incredible setup. This is fantastic. I'm not in a wife beater smoking cigarettes, drinking soda. We have production quality. We have production quality today. So welcome back to the channel. We're going to try something a little different. I'm in Florida right now. I'm in Daytona. And I've gathered a bunch of people who I really feel this team has pieces to the puzzle that I don't. And when you put it all together, which you guys will see, it makes something spectacular. We will do introductions a little bit later, but we're just going to jump right into it right now. So I have my good friend Matt here. You guys saw him. He played a couple songs off of his upcoming CD and previous CDs too.
Yeah.
Right? He was on my channel, and we talked esotericism and music. And I have him on right now. We're going to kickstart this off before we start going into the spiritual stuff, before we start going into the religion, the astrology, all that stuff, the law stuff, because we're going to touch on that. I wanted Matt to talk about Bitcoin for about 20 minutes or so, so he's put something together. So I'm just going to literally just give it over to him. So Matt, thank you for being here. Thank you for setting this all up. This has been incredible. And please just tell everybody what Bitcoin really is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a 20-30 minute presentation that I've used at Acapulco and Crypto Vigilante Summit recently. It really is a snapshot of course, what Bitcoin is, what crypto is, blockchain technology, the underlying tech, but really it's hard to grasp it without the context to understand why this technology is so important and so special, and honestly not what most people think it is. So we've had 13 years to look into Bitcoin, and most people haven't. So I've been very blessed to have been taken to very sacred spaces, very private, very much like this with Micah and this special group of souls, where you kind of realize, holy crap, we're on the cutting edge of like this thing, whatever it might be. And in this case with Micah, it's the esoteric world that we live in. And in my case, with crypto, it was with Bitcoin, you know, being in that room. So first off, I'd like to introduce myself, give more context to me. This is my band name and logo, Be Love and Be You. It's a 7-letter acronym for the 7 chakras, and each one has its own mantra. For example, B is the root chakra. It works from the root to the crown, going from left to right, and the mantra is like be rooted, be grounded for root chakra, and then it goes on up until the end, which is unity consciousness. You know, and over time, I just realized that, hey, the first letter may as well be the Bitcoin logo. Once I realized that Bitcoin was it, you know, it's like it's the winner that takes all crypto.
You guys see the B with the 2 lines. You guys know how the dollar sign is an S with the 2 lines.
Yep.
If you actually pull those apart, you get ISIS. That's where it came from, because again, everything is spiritual.
Right.
So.
And Bitcoin is so spiritual, as you'll see.
Do me a favor, explain to everybody open source real quick, because not a lot of people understand how important that is.
Oh man, honestly, you shouldn't really be using a technology that isn't FOSS, F-O-S-S, free and open source software, because that means that the source code for whatever the heck it is, like WordPress here that we built this site on, or say Bitcoin, which is also free and open source, like you should be able to look at all of it and audit it. And if you like it or don't like it, copy it, copy the source code and make changes.
Right. I used to follow a guy named Robert David Steele. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he is a multiple, you know who he is, right? He's a multiple, he's dead now. He died of COVID. They put him on
Remdesivir.
Yep, that's what it was. And then they put him on the
respirator.
The respirator, sorry.
Right.
Yeah, so they put him on that. But he was multiple degrees, multiple graduate degrees. He was a CIA Army intelligence that came out and was a truth teller. And he talks about how the problem is that 90% of intelligence gathering, 90% of it is just pattern recognition. So what he talks about is that what these people are doing with all this money is they're not deep diving and doing psychological reports, or even like what Priscilla does, check their charts to see what's coming down the path. What's basically happening is these people, when you talk in open source, these people just do pattern recognition. So when I say pattern recognition, I mean they're just looking to see what dickhead is calling Afghanistan 3 times a week. That's like the extent. right? So Robert David Steele was huge into talking about open source. In fact, he said 10, 12 years ago when I used to watch him that the best way for things to actually happen in the media is for everybody to take ownership of their zip code, right? And start doing citizen journal. And then what happens is those are going to make babies. And then everything's going to connect. And then eventually you'll be able to open source, just punch in a zip code and see what's going on in your local area. Because we know that the mainstream news doesn't tell you half of the things that are going on. So, continue.
Yeah, I mean, case in point, that's one of your check marks for becoming your own technology mediator and validator of, like, is this good for humanity? Is it free and open source software? Because it can be audited and it can be built upon by the free market.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so what you see in crypto is a lot of volunteerism where people just come in totally anonymous and they like find hacks and cracks in code and they just fix it and just report the bug. Nobody knows who did it, and then all the devs are like, oh my god, like, thank god this person did it.
But at the same
and
time,
they just do it for free.
At the same time, on the flip side, you also have these people who go on like Reddit threads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, I can't buy anything, or I'm having trouble with this, and someone will just like post a link and they'll be like, click here, this is how you reset everything, and when you click on this, it drains your Bitcoin wallet.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of scamming going on.
That's what's called operational security. Like in this Aquarian Age of tech, you have to, your OPSEC, we call it for short, it has to be like Loctite. And that's simple. It just starts with awareness of it.
Right.
Knowing that every phone, computer, tablet, even a TV, like everything has a way to track, trace, and surveil you, and scan what you do on it.
There was a story, I don't know if you guys heard, but there was a story about a guy that came home. This is going to sound bananas, but everything has a microchip in it. Everything has a speaker in it. This guy was talking to one of his friends in his apartment or his house and confessed to a murder. And the dishwasher heard it and called the police.
Oh, I saw that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's called IoT, the Internet of Things. Your dishwasher, your fridge, everything's your cat food, dispense it, you know, cat food low.
Right?
Smart trash can.
Yeah, and then you can manage it from your phone, you know.
Yep.
And so the important thing is not sacrifice safety is an illusion, but don't sacrifice freedom for convenience.
Right. Wash your own.
That's actually a famous quote. One of the founding fathers said that, and I can't remember which founding father said that. But one of the founding fathers said that if you're willing to sacrifice freedom for safety, you deserve none.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just blowing through this, the Aquarian community right now is 300 and I'm not logged in, so I can't see that. I like that. No, here it is. 369 members strong after 4 years of like not really promoting this.
Interesting number, 369.
Ooh.
Oh shoot!
Beautiful.
What does it mean?
Wow.
Because there's 365 days in a year.
369 is what Tesla said. Tesla said if you
Oh,
understood,
you're right. The 369.
If you understood the
Oh.
if you understood the code for the 3, the 6, and the 9, then you understand the secret to the universe. Which I don't understand the codes of the 369. I've heard a lot of explanations for it. I know 9 is a secret number. But I don't know any further than that, to be honest. I haven't heard a good explanation for that yet.
I can show you one.
I would like to see that.
Well, they're all divisible by 3, so there's some merit to that. But all right, so we're going to unveil the secrets to the universe today. So they're no, I'm just kidding. It's a sign. It's a sign. But make no mistake, the future of Web3 it's Bitcoin and it's blockchain tech. It's not.
Can we start to get into that a little bit, into Bitcoin?
Yeah, let's start getting into it.
Okay.
So we covered the basic stuff. You guys pretty much have the understanding of who I am and what we're going to be talking about. So as humanity settles into the new age of Aquarius, more people will become mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially free than ever before in human history. So we're going to talk about what is the Aquarian Age, when did it begin, how does it affect me, and what does it have to do with crypto? There's a new age every 2,000 to 2,160 years, depending on which astrological calendar you're looking at. Mike and I tend to resonate more with the 2160. And what calendar is that? Can you explain?
Well, the 2160 is basically, that's tropical, right, Priscilla? That's Western tropical, right? So each year each sign, you're in it for 2,160 years. And in my work I talk about it. I said, in the Age of Taurus, which was the bull, you'll see the hieroglyphs in Egypt, of the bull, they're going to tell me I'm Illuminati because I'm doing this. You'll see the sun between the bull's horns in thousands of carvings and everything. They were the age. Then the Jews become the age of Aries. They're the majority people. It's a ram. Aries is the ram. That's why the Jews blow the ram's horn at the temple. And then the Christians are the age of Pisces. That's the two fish. That's why Jesus feeds the masses with the two fish. That's why he's called the good fisherman. And now we're in the age of Aquarius, which is the sign of the man with the water pitcher. So you're looking at two choices, basically. Number one, if you realize that each sign comes with a new religion, but people are starting to wake up to everything right now. So what's really happening is in the age of Aquarius, it's going to be the evolution of the man. Man is in mankind, civilization. Everything is spiritual, but basically it's going to be the evolution of man. If it's done right, and if it's done wrong, which they will try and do, they're going to try and push another religion, whether it's Chrislam or whatever they're trying to do. But when you're talking about the age that's 2160 years, if you look at the zodiac, you have your 12 signs. Now the last 3 days in the sign and the first 3 days in the next sign, those are called cusps or handover dates. There's different words for it. And what it is it's one energy slowly, but kind of like when you mix colors on a paint canvas, you're blending energies is what you're doing. So you have those 6 days out of 60 days. So it's 1/10 that are cusp days. Each age is 2160 years. So the cusp of our blending of energies from the age of Pisces to Aquarius, you just chop the 0 off, and it's 216 years. We incarnated here. We joined here during the merging of the two. We're not fully in Aquarius. We're in the midst of the two, which is why we have all the Pisces residue, which is the age of religion, which is the age of belief, whereas the age of Aquarius is going to be the age of knowing. So we're not going to actually see this through. We chose to be here to help move things forward, and that's basically how that goes. And I see you said the end of the Kali Yuga, so I'll let you continue.
Well, honestly, I'm not an expert on Kali Yuga, but I did pull this screenshot, which is just fascinating.
I love that.
Yeah, this is from a documentary called Universal Disclosure. By at the time, his name was Martin Kenny, and this guy Norb's World. And it's just this whole animated 45-minute mind-blowing, like, you have to check this out. And it goes into, like, the actual shape of the Earth and the ages, where we're at now, what's actually happening. But their time frames and the way they show it with the animation is unlike anything. I mean, they've done a great thing for humanity to make this. And they took a lot of risk putting it out. Like, they just say, copy this, get it out, copy it, get it out. They don't want money for it. They're just like, get the word out. But this is, I guess, Vedic.
Yes.
Or
Vedic, you know what I mean? So, like, it's just...
Priscilla, Vedic and Sidereal are the same, right?
In a sense.
They're related.
They do believe in, one believes in the 13 signs and the other one just does Eastern, so they don't do tropical.
Yes.
Interesting.
So
Oh,
gotcha.
true, yeah, we do have the mic in the middle if you guys...
You can hear me.
I'll bring it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to add some context to what you were saying.
Please,
about,
please jump, guys, jump in.
Okay, so to add
Just
context to what he was saying
unhook that,
about
Nirvana.
Aquarius Age and what they're going to try to do.
Just
I
unhook
think a
that.
lot of people forget that Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn.
Right.
So this is them trying to bring in their old traditions, their
Right.
old systems and their old religion, ideology. So we are going to see the fight between Saturn and Uranus. And the mythology of it is Uranus is the grandfather and he eats Saturn in the end.
Yeah,
so
right.
we do win in the end, but there's going to be 20 years of trouble to get there.
20 years?
20 years, that's Pluto entering into Aquarius.
When did that start?
That starts January and it goes till 2044.
This coming January?
Yes. This is the start of everything with the North Node in Aries.
Okay, so that's...
We're bringing in the war for the next 18 months and then it's going to usher in that transition. And it's major. It's
And you
serious.
said it was about 2043.
2044, 20.
Yeah, 2044.
I had a dream about 2043.
And you said
Oh my God,
2043
nice.
because Saturn is going.
I was like, well, what
So
did
the
you just say?
reason why you're saying 2043 is because remember all the planets they retrograde. So Pluto will retrograde in 2043. We'll start to see some of that chaos. And
Priscilla, do
then
me a
enter into
favor.
2044.
Give everybody a. I know that the retrograde things
It's an
slow down,
illusion.
so it looks
Yeah.
like it's going backwards. But
illusion, like a
can you
car.
explain it a little deeper? It basically looks like it looks like the planet's going backwards, but it's really
It
not.
does. It just stays still. It doesn't move anymore. But because of the way that it's like an optical illusion, like you would be in a car and the car next to you is moving and it looks like you're moving, that's kind of how the way that the planets look when they're retrograding. But they're not actually going backwards. They just are at a standstill.
Right.
which kind of makes the energy suffocate because it can't move forward, which is why there's so much chaos whenever we have Mercury retrogrades, car crash, because the energy is stalled. So
Okay.
that's why that works that way. But yeah. So that was my context to the Saturn Uranus thing.
Talk more about what's going to happen over the next 20 years from 2034 to 2040.
All right,
Yeah.
so Pluto in mythology is death and rebirth. It rules the underworld. This is what we consider the Grim Reaper that brings souls through the underworld till it gets to its next phase. So that's what we're going to see on a spiritual level here in the world, but also on a physical level. So we are going to see destruction. In Aquarius, because it's Uranus and Saturn ruled, Uranus wants to destroy old systems, not to kill them off, but to revamp them. So with Pluto being there, Uranus and Saturn, all of those are malefic energies, meaning that they are very strong, powerful, negative energies. Pluto does this thing where it's transforms. It is like, you know, like a Scorpio, how it loses its tail and rebirths another tail and stays alive. So that's what we're seeing. We're just seeing a transition of souls from Pluto, transitioning their souls into different, you know, vibrations is what we're seeing. And Uranus is helping that with raising the consciousness. But for 20 years, we are going to see that. Pluto also rules death, so unfortunately, we are going to see a massive amount of people dying because it's in the sign of Aquarius, which is the mankind. Which is why I believe what you were saying the other day, Matt, about the 500 million people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's very true. So, yeah. But, you know, as we all know here, we do rebirth, we reincarnate. So eventually, which we won't see it, but when we do get to this utopia, the souls will eventually come back. But we are going to have to go through a purging because Pluto is catharsis also. On a positive note, Pluto rules banks, big money, and billionaires. So you're going to see destruction of billionaires and big systems in Aquarius, but Aquarius is the people, so the money will shift to us.
Which is the
Absolutely.
perfect segue to go back into Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll, thank you, Priscilla. So we'll keep this train going. Let's get out of the Yugas here. We already saw that.
The Santos.
Yeah, Santos.
My friend.
I know. Yes, Santos is, you know, he's a mentor of Micah and I had a chance to meet him. And, I mean, I heard from him in person, you know, yes, we're verifiably in the Aquarian Age, and then Micah really drove it home for me with the way he can break things down very simply.
Right. It's actually quite simple. It's expensive, but you can. This is what you do. On March 21st, it's the spring equinox. What you do is you go to the equator, or one of the countries on the equator, okay? And on March 21st, you watch the sunrise. The sun is going to rise in the morning. And what happens is the sign behind the sun on that day is the sign that we're in. And it's that simple.
Right. So it's Aquarius is moving into like that 0 degree, if you will, like kind of that, you know.
On the back end, it would be considered the rising sign. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Cool. So let's just move on from Santos. So the Aquarian Age, I guess, right? It started with the Mayan calendar prediction, the winter solstice of 2012.
Well, the Mayan calendar wasn't the end of the world. Remember they came out with that movie? Everyone went ape shit.
Yeah.
You know, everyone. They did the same thing with Y2K. So you know, people are just idiots. You know, they're herded morons mostly. But the Mayan calendar ended on the winter solstice of 2012. That was basically, they say that was the end of the age. That was the beginning of our shift into this handover period where Aquarian energy is going to start flooding. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what happened.
Yeah, and what happened that Micah and I can speak to is that leading up to this great prediction, this date, we had our own catalysts of experiences that led to our awakening. So I think a lot of the original souls that are here, incarnated here to help with this transition, that was when God kicked him in the butt. I actually
had my Saturn return in 2012, end of 2012. It was very intense.
Yeah.
Harsh for you, before thing.
Yeah. So you guys got the deal there. We publicly declared the Aquarian Age from the heart of Lake Eola, downtown Orlando on 2/2/2022. That was powered by Pirate Chain, cryptocurrency. We kind of already get the idea, you know, what are the signs of the Age of Aquarius? Well, it's a technological age, so it's a sine wave, S-I-N-E. So it's information age of knowledge, communications, robotics, AI, but ultimately the technology to facilitate this transition over that 160-year gap is going to be blockchain technology. And I think it's going to be Bitcoin specifically. Well, I want to say I know because I'm not in the age of belief anymore. Now, how do I know this, right? Because the most touched, seen, felt, experienced, used world reserve currency that almost everyone has seen, their subconscious mind has seen it, has the symbology, right? The same language etched on my bass drum that I had no idea Latin was even relevant back then. It's on the dollar. So at the top it says Annual Queptus. So we're talking about money here, right? So this transition to the Aquarian Age doesn't come without the transformation of money, right? This is the context of why this technology is important. It's unfolding before our eyes. And it won't happen without our participation in a good way. If we don't participate, it goes in a bad way.
And that's because money's a current.
It's a
People don't
current.
Understand that's why it's called
Currency.
Yeah,
It's energy.
a current. It's a spiritual thing.
Yeah, you know, it's anyone that hates money and hates the rich. They're really like shooting themselves in the foot because they don't understand the esoteric symbolism of energy, which is money, currency. So, at the top, you know, I was up for debate on this. Right, he got us approved of undertakings. Well, damn, when you go down a rabbit hole, you're like, damn, a lot of heinous stuff has happened. These crimes against humanity. Who would approve this? Are they really godly people at the top? Well, obviously, this is all Freemasonic symbolism here, right? The Great Seal, with the pyramid, the 13 levels, the capstone at the top, right? So this isn't just somebody putting this out there, right? It's worth consideration. Like maybe these are godly people doing this stuff, and maybe they're not actually causing these heinous crimes against humanity. So that's where I'm at now. It took a while to get there, but at the bottom, right? Novus Ordo Seclorum, right there, New Order of the Ages. They're telling you in plain sight. Your invitation to look deeper has always been there. It's been there, right? So hopefully, if you're watching this today, like this is, if you haven't, here it is. Look into it, right? You're invited. So what are they talking about? The Age of Aquarius. What else could they be talking about, man? The dollar hasn't been around that long. The United States has been around that a couple hundred years, whatever. Like, I mean, they're talking about right now, the age from Age of Pisces to Age of Aquarius.
250 years in 2026.
And that's about the
250
time.
years, that's it.
That's
in fact,
yeah.
that time period to about 300 years, from about 250 years to 300 years, is about how long the master civilizations last. That's about how long they last.
That's because Pluto, the way Pluto transits.
Pluto's, what, 260, 220, 240
wow.
years?
Almost 290.
It's because of Pluto,
Almost
Priscilla says.
270, 260,
260, I think.
Yep, and that's what Pluto does. It destroys.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
every 267 years when Pluto orbits, he comes around to destroy again.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we don't have civilizations lasting that long, or
Right.
longer than that point.
Right.
It's all astrological.
Yeah, all of it.
Everything.
Mm-hmm. Which is great because it's like, wow, thanks. We have a roadmap for like
Absolutely.
understanding creation.
Yeah,
and why we're
it's
here.
the
where we're
language of the
going,
universe.
where
You
we
guys,
came from,
you guys that
yeah.
are listening, you guys have to understand is that some of this stuff may sound nuts, but we're just trying to provide a cheat code that you guys might not see. That's what my astrotheology is. It's a cheat code into what things truly are, how deep things truly are, and the people that I have here all have a piece of it. So this is what it is. Is if you're Priscilla can look at a chart and tell you down to the wire things that you couldn't believe about yourself.
Well, it's like what you put up earlier. It's all sacred geometry. When I'm looking at your sacred geometry up there, I'm looking at the same things I'm looking at on a 2D level on paper. So all I'm doing is spiritually looking at it on a 3D plane. And that's
Right.
how I'm able to tell what type of energies per the angles and the aspects, because it's just making geometry in space. That's all it's doing. And every angle, it has a specific vibration that it holds with it, and that's how they're able to tell what's happening, because they're just reading the language that's happening up there. It's literally a language.
Yes,
all it is.
it's the angelic angle.
That's it.
Angel.
Angels, exactly.
Same thing.
It's exactly what it is.
It's an angle of looking at things that
Yeah.
might be elevated.
And there's
In a
positive
sense.
angles and there's negative ones, which where we get angels and devils or
Sure.
demons. Yeah.
Or daemons. Yeah.
Daemons, yeah.
I know. Okay, well, thank you, Priscilla. Very important to acknowledge this. The gatekeepers of this realm gave all of humanity some time to sit down and think, really think. What do I know? Who am I? How? Where have I come? Where am I going next? Your whole job, career, livelihood, the future was completely uncertain for almost a year. And the vaccines weren't even rolled out for months. after we were locked down. So I mean, it was really generous time to like offer people. I feel like. So, warning, it's in the air. Don't breathe. Triple mask. 6 feet apart. It's like 6. Okay, that number again. Mark of the beast. 666. Technology.
Well, it's more than that. The human toroidal field it looks like an apple near the core of the apple, and it circumvents you 6 feet. This is why, if I come up behind you, you'll know that I'm there. You're not a wizard or anything.
Electromagnetic field.
Yeah, you can tell.
Feel someone looking at you.
You can sync rhythms, and that's why they tried to keep you 6 feet apart. Is because they wanted to keep you. They wanted to keep you separate from everyone,
Yeah.
isolated,
Humans
alone.
need that. We have to have
We need that connection.
Yes, we do.
We need it, but do we
That's 'cause
deserve
we're
it?
we all are.
That's the big question.
Right? So
What?
maybe we need to be 6 feet apart,
Which is why
and in our own
COVID happened.
space.
COVID happened to make people like, wait,
It did.
why
It was a
you-
rite of passage, right? So everyone we know in the truth movement, it was so obvious what was happening.
Absolutely.
We didn't quite nail the timing, how it was going to go, even though Rockefeller lockstep plans already said a pandemic was the best
We
way.
can see as astrologers that it was coming
Yeah.
4
Yeah.
years ago.
So when it came, we knew, and it took me a while to connect the dots and say, whoa, they're again telling us, hidden in plain sight, that we are embracing the air age of Aquarius. It's in the air. This is really what's going viral, is this message. It's about to, I feel like.
Didn't it really ramp up in Aries?
Jupiter, the grand conjunction from Jupiter to Saturn that he's talking about happened in Capricorn. It had to happen there to kind of dismantle the systems first and the ideologies, because Jupiter rules over philosophies and ideologies. And then Jupiter also rules over viruses and vaccines. That's why it had to happen on that conjunction with Saturn, which rules over businesses and systems. So that's why it happened the way it did,
Yeah.
astrologically.
Yeah.
But yes, it did kick up once it moved into Aries.
That was just kind of the ramp up for me when I noticed everything was stopping, was, that springtime.
Yeah.
So for the listeners at home, take 2.
I know.
So yeah, going back to what we were saying, the Jupiter, because he said it earlier about the Jupiter and Saturn grand conjunction in 2020 was when we got the lockdowns. And that's because, again, Jupiter rules viruses, vaccines, and it rules over nurses, it rules over hospitals. If you look at Pisces, Pisces rules over things like that. Neptunian rules over health stuff. That's the axes of Virgo and Pisces, which both those axes rule over health situations. Jupiter expands it, so that's why it spread the virus so big. And we can tell when it was conjunct Saturn that it came on up from some type of systematic pharmaceutical thing, because again, Jupiter rules, pharmacy, pharmaceuticals. And then Saturn rules systems, so that's why we were locked down. That's why the systems are starting to collapse now, because of that Jupiter energy wants us to raise our consciousness.
I like that you said system. Do you guys know where the word system comes from?
No.
The word system is an ancient word. The Romans invented it. The system, the original system, and the systems haven't changed since this. The original meaning of system was the channels in ancient Rome that carried the piss and shit out.
Wow.
So that is the system.
Sister.
Is that like a septic system?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the system.
Wow.
More you know.
It's all a bunch of crap.
It's so much crap.
Yeah, but it is all spiritual before
Yes.
physical, like you guys are saying up there, which is where I love what you're teaching, Carrie, because it is spiritual. Until you get into that spiritual energy, you're not going to be able to understand, which is why you have to have, unfortunately, trauma to wake you up, because Saturn rules over trauma.
Right.
And Saturn's the disciplinarian, and he's the the iron rod. So in order to understand and get disciplined, you have to experience trauma.
Right.
Wow. That we
Alright.
did.
So
Yes.
Maddie, keep going. Let's.
So we're getting to the good stuff. It's unlikely something would replace my passion for music ever, but the close second is cryptocurrency. And so I don't take it lightly. When people, when I say you want to see some charts, and they just say, "No, what?" And they just give me a hard time, I'm like, good luck, dude. Because
So you're telling me I shouldn't listen to Jim Cramer?
No, you should listen to Jim Cramer. Basically do the opposite of everything he says. He's like one of the best indicators for what not to buy. Okay. etc. So there's like a war within crypto right now between like, oh, your coin is better than mine, it's just a bunch of ego and dumb stuff, childish behavior. I'm pretty much like one of the few people in the space that are teaching this about the technology to a lot of these projects and developers and trying to like wake these guys up. It's all spiritual, right? Mm-hmm. So the technology is spiritual in nature. Now, in blockchain tech, just the underlying tech for Bitcoin, Ethereum, there's two worlds. There's solar punk and then there's lunar punk. It's literally based on the sun and the moon, yin and yang, the duality of consciousness, which will always exist and should, right? So the coins you see at the bottom here, on the left side, solar punk, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, there's a one-to-one stable coin, like a dollar, digital dollar. They have a transparent ledger. So the way blockchain works is that it's either proof of stake, like Ethereum is now, or it's proof of work. Now work is like work. It's like energy. Like you gotta create the energy to power computers that process transactions. And then you have to like have whole businesses where you have these mining farms and warehouses, and you're keeping the miners cool. And it's a huge investment of free market capitalism, true decentralization. That's Bitcoin. So with Ethereum, proof of stake is like they're basically just using Amazon web servers now. They're like locked tight with World Economic Forum. Like they're supposed to be the inversion. Like don't fall for that, you know. It's a good for a trade for sure. It's good for a trade, but the benefits of solar punk tech is that it promotes extreme capitalism to the likes that we don't know today. I'm not talking monopolies. I'm talking free market capitalism. And you can have proof of reserves, like the big FTX crash that happened on the blood moon eclipse on purpose last November 5th or 6th. Well, that never would have happened if you could have seen how much crypto they had, right? If you look at Bitcoin wallets, you can see like Binance, for example, hold like some of the most Bitcoin out of anyone in the world because that's their exchange wallet. And you can say, oh, okay, that's them. So that's kind of the downside. It's a transparent chain, right? So your money's not really like, if someone figures out that's your wallet, they know how much Bitcoin you have. They just punch it in the block explorer in 2 seconds. Oh, and he made these transactions, she made those transactions. So you can see what's coming in. It's all anonymous, but it's not private. Okay, now this is important, right? This solar punk is where the technology for the Aquarian Age is going. It's where it will end, right? You said Jupiter eats Uranus?
Uranus, yep, in mythology he eats his own sun.
Well, there you go. So Bitcoin is eventually going to swallow up every crypto because Bitcoin can do everything that every crypto in existence right now is claiming to do. Mm-hmm. But people don't know the technology. They haven't looked into it enough. They don't know this.
Let's do something a little bit more mainstream. Maybe you can explain to people why Elon Musk is so obsessed with Dogecoin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dogecoin, because Elon, I believe, is one of the good guys. If you take the new X logo and you do the mirror next to it, it's literally the square and compass, right? He's in the Freemasonic order. He's potentially one of the good guys, or he's using that wisdom for bad. I'm not sure, but being one of the good guys, you know, my belief is that the Freemasons created Bitcoin. They hacked the encryption code, like you said, and it was a group of guys that, you know, like John McAfee, Craig Wright, Sergey from Chainlink, like, you know, like powerhouse minds that were in the right place at the right time. That put this together and figured out, here's the technology, the open source tech we need to actually decentralize every sector of world trade, essentially. Hence why the World Trade Centers were taken down. Like, world trade is changing.
Do me a favor, explain centralized and decentralized real quick.
Yeah, so centralized is what we see today. Like, I hate capitalism, and you haven't seen it yet. It's the reason that, like, for me to have power in my house in Orlando, I have to go through Duke Energy, a monopoly. Florida Power and Light, a monopoly, right? I can't just throw up some panels in my backyard and I'm good. I still have to connect to them, even if I'm paying them $15 a month. So there's a centralization of power where they have rules and authority, self-appointed authority, and that just doesn't work in the Aquarian Age. You know, so like the technology is the only thing that's going to get people to get on the same page despite all their differences in the name of like actual equality. So a decentralized tech like Bitcoin, that is transparent in nature, that promotes honesty, promotes trust, right? We don't have to know each other to trust each other on Bitcoin. It's P2P, peer-to-peer exchange, right? So you've got what I want, I got what you're asking for it, the trade happens.
Can I ask you a question?
Trustless.
How is this any different?
Trustless.
How is this any different than what Ross Ulbricht did 10 years ago with Silk Road?
Well, Ross Ulbricht was using his bitcoins, and he was using Tor and the darknet to like actually like use it, you know. So it's a shame what's happened to him, and it's still happening. There's a lot of great work going on to get him out of prison, but yeah, it's the other side, you know, just got hold of him. And like the thing with the law is that even if it is, you know, originally created by Freemasons, you know, it's designed to keep evil in check. Don't get caught up in it. That's kind of like what I've learned is like, if you're not evil, like don't make the mistakes, like know the laws. You don't have to say agree with them, but don't get mixed up in the law because it's designed for evil people and things, and Ross Ulbricht was not that, but he got caught, right? So he got mixed up in
For
it.
you guys that don't know what he did, he basically did this free exchange thing. But people were buying drugs, people were buying weapons, but he just made the platform. He made a website for people to freely exchange with themselves. He had nothing to do with this. They took him to court. They gave him 2 life sentences and 40 years for a website. There's a huge online movement to get him out. All he did was provide a service.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, it's true. It's like what I'm doing with Age of Aquarius. Like I want to create the exchange where you can.
That's what happened.
Trade
So go back. So why is he obsessed with Doge?
Oh, Elon with Doge. Because Doge is like, it's probably really like a fork of Bitcoin. So it's close to Satoshi's original design, which is the winner that takes all. So Doge actually can scale and process transactions efficiently. It's actually a decent chain. I always hated it, like Shiba Inu. I'm like, you know, because it's trendy, it's an animal. And it's called a meme coin. You know, memes are just like so fleeting and like, oh, ha ha ha. But there's truth to the memes a lot of times. So Doge is really like the shiny object where Bitcoin isn't working for some people. Oh, let's get their attention with Doge. So that's why he's a big proponent of it. Because ultimately, if you support Doge, you support Bitcoin. Now moving on to the Lunar Punk world, which is, I think...
Before you go on to Lunar Punk,
yeah.
Elon's not one of the good guys, just to let you know.
I don't think he is either.
He's not.
Did I say I think he was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know, man.
Dogecoin is a Sagittarius, and he has Neptune in Sagittarius, and Neptune is the fog and deception.
Here, you want
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
okay.
Look here, don't look over there, right? Look at Doge, but don't look at Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing
Yeah.
because Dogecoin was birthed in Sagittarius energy, and Elon Musk has his Neptune in Sagittarius in his 5th house it's a money house. So and that's also your heart. So he's in love with Dogecoin. However, the Neptune fog also rules over deception. So he is doing what you're saying. He's being deceptive.
Yeah.
Making people look at Doge instead of Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's even X. Everything he's building, even Neuralink. I think that's why he could be a good guy because like the deception is necessary. It's part of the solar punk like yin energy where like it's a mirror for you to see what you are not, what you should not be touching or doing.
It's
Thinking,
to keep
believing.
the wrong people out, I believe. And the only reason why I believe he's a good guy is because he has his Mars and his North Node in Aquarius. North Node is a direction of life that you're supposed to be aiming for, and Mars is your physical embodiment. So even though he's a Cancer sun with a Cancer rising, he is an Aquarius all day.
Okay.
So, and his Uranus trines that for him.
Wow.
So he's very futuristic.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I've just gotten to a place where I'm not going to judge any celebrity
It's
or
so hard because
anyone
of
until
who he's tied to, so it's hard for me to really say
I
that
just
to you,
keep-
but looking at his chart, it doesn't seem like, it might seem like he's working with them just to kind of take over, because he's got this takeover energy in his chart.
I know.
Where he just wants to, be the first and be the leader, but he's an intelligent guy. He's got Mars and Aquarius. He's really smart now.
I don't know. I take back what I said. I don't think he's a good guy, but I'm not going to judge or make a decision until I have
But
confirmation.
he's a very big player for where we're going.
Yeah,
So whether
for sure.
he's good or not, he's ushering in things that we need.
Yeah. So
One way or another, we're going to figure it out because you're going to see how the media treats him when he dies.
Yeah.
And if they elevate him, he's not a good guy.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah, actually.
The fact that no woman stays with him should say enough.
He's got 10
Absolutely,
kids.
because it's the spiritual. There you go.
He's got 10 kids, right?
Does he really?
10.
Holy shit. I thought he had no kids.
No, he's got a bunch of kids. 6 from his first wife alone.
Yeah. What's weird is there's a lot of confirmations that show Elon was on the founding team for Team Satoshi, that he helped hack the encryption.
I actually heard that Satoshi Nakamoto, if you break that down into the syllables, are the beginning of major tech companies.
Well, can you explain what do you mean? The beginning of a major tech company?
Like SAT.
Oh. Oh.
Maybe you can look at SAT.
Yeah.
Like, if you break down Satoshi Nakamoto, and you can look this up online too. If you break down Satoshi Nakamoto into the syllables, each syllable is the beginning of a big company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish I
like
remembered it.
Motorola. Like
Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
There
I
he
mean,
is.
it could be, you know, somebody sitting down.
Coinky
for
dink.
a minute, but
Yeah. See, dropping the truth bombs. That's
Right.
like a
Yeah,
dang.
So we
truth
do.
bombs.
So alright, so let's continue.
Okay, so for this transition into the Aquarian Age, there's a lot of division because some people, they don't even want to touch solar punk cryptos. And I can't blame them. They have this real fear of Big Brother based on some kind of personal trauma or incidents, getting caught up with the law, you name it, getting hacked, you name it. And for that reason, they can't even look at things like Bitcoin anymore or solar punk tech because of the transparency, right? They want to make sure that their digital currency for this new age is completely hidden. So it's like hiding your money under the mattress. Those are projects like Monero, the best of them all, the OG, Pirate Chain, debatably the best of them all, the newcomer with different tech than Monero. These are private by default, so there's no optional privacy, right? Like you can never find out how much crypto I have in Monero, my wallet address. You can't search and see, oh, Matt has 100 Monero or something, you know. And then I say I want to buy my wife a wedding ring, 10 grand, but I don't want, you know, we share a bank account. Well, I'm just going to buy some Pirate Chain, find a merchant that accepts it, pay him that way. They mail me the ring. It's hush hush. You'll never know. And there's like actually no money trail that can be traced. So there's like Cipher Trace and all kinds of programs that the feds are working on to track like Bitcoin transactions and you know pinpoint those pattern recognition, right, you're talking about, to individuals based on their IP address and everything. So using VPNs, all this stuff is important for operational security, and you're going to want privacy coins not just for a great life-changing trade, right? Pirate Chain, 18 cents right now. It's going to $100, right? So you need like what, 10,000? Throw a couple grand at it, and it's worth millions in a few years, 5 at the most, you know. But it's also a hedge against their money in the mattress in case shit really hits the fan, which it could. It all depends on humanity, like their willingness to wake up and how fast. So,
Can I add something?
yeah, please. Please.
Oh, it's alright. I'll just sit over here. That way it'll be.
Yeah, that helps. You're on one side like that, yeah.
Just something to keep, just to rewind just a hair. I just want to add something to keep an eye out for. I thought it was very interesting that Elon chose the X, because what were we talking about? What the X represents? The treasure.
Marks the spot, the treasure?
Yes.
Okay.
So due to the fact that we may see who's involved with who, could that be the new treasury standard or something that has somebody's back? Like, see, I see codes and everything, right?
That's
like I'm
great
looking for the sign.
connection.
So I just saw it, I was like, X, like knowing that X marks the spot of the treasure.
The interesting
For
thing
those of
too
you
is
guys-
that Elon Musk declared that it was going to be X, right? What he didn't know was that Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg already had a patent on that.
on X.
So they had to do something behind the scenes in order for him to get X from him. I have no idea what they did.
Wow.
But yeah, Meta already had it.
So the
That's
X is
concerning.
the X in like ancient encyclopedias for Catholicism meant
Right.
death. So what they did was a little history there. They took the X and they would take people's land from
Well,
the
that-
X
well,
you'd sign because you didn't know how to read.
Fast
Means
forward
illiteracy.
to slavery. That's exactly what they
Yes,
did. They couldn't
so
read, so they would put an
They
X
put an
to sign.
X. So when you sign on the next to the X legally, they've already signed for you because you are illiterate to what's going on with money, how it actually works, right? Yeah, so I'm just saying watch the X because could they be indicating something that either has to do with the treasury, it's going to be the new treasure, like in other words, that X means the treasury. So just, you know, kind of keep an eye, so.
Okay. So let's keep going, bud.
Awesome. Okay, so there's a lot of benefits to privacy coins. Yeah, I don't think it's the future, like long to the future, but it's a private ledger. You can be proof of stake and proof of work, privacy coins, but they're great for extreme privacy, just like the contrast of extreme capitalism. Like in this world, as an artist in the Aquarian Age, you want to have a personal life and a private life. because it's going to be all digital. The money, the transactions, everything will be managed, proof of reserves on chain, because it's immutable. Like anything in the blockchain, you can't roll it back, and if you do, that chain's done. Like you can never trust a chain like Ethereum that rolls back the code because, oops, we lost some Bitcoin or Ethereum, you know what I mean? No rolling back code. If
Would you say that's kind of how like the Pentagon will lose $3 trillion?
Yeah, that's why
happens,
you need
right?
blockchain. Like they're almost doing these things to show you, yeah, like this is why we need blockchain, because you can't do that. You know, it's in the code, and if somebody does it, like everyone will know. So yeah, privacy coins are great for personal finance, and you know, they can empower bad actors. Like for say human trafficking, if you want to buy a child, you can buy it with Monero. I'm sure it's happened already, and no government can trace it. They haven't yet proven that they can. So there's some downside to it, but you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I got nothing to hide anyway. Why would I want Pirate Chain or Monero?" No, you're missing the point. That's not the purpose of these things. It's a hedge against the system entirely collapsing. What if the internet goes down? This stuff's useless. Is the internet going to go down? Maybe. For long? No. Because then you just invalidate your whole threat of Big Brother's watching, tracing, tracking, surveilling.
Right.
These agendas can't
99% of everything online is the dark web. And it is really not hard to get on the dark web. You get the Onion browser, you know, you find something that's being, you know, Daniel's hosting actually has, I think, what, 75 to 90% of the websites that they're made in the dark web. And then you go through it with these private cryptos. You know what I mean? And it's literally that simple. Ross Ulbricht would be out if he did this on the dark web. His website was called Silk Road, by the way. They had to take it down.
Silk Road. Yeah, it's the Pirate Chain tank. Good luck tracing us. So what is the winner that takes all blockchain protocol? This is the good stuff here. Like I said, this is a sacred experience here where I feel like we're on the cutting edge of something big, and we don't fully know what yet, but it will become obvious in the days and weeks to come. That was me about a year ago in August, September last year. I was gifted a trip to Cambrian SV in Costa Rica, where I got to sit in the room with like 20 of the most talented Bitcoin developers in the world, and one of them being Jack Lee.
When you say developers, can you talk about the difference between developing and mining?
Yeah, sure. Mining's easy. You buy the hardware SHA-256 miner, and then you buy tons of them. You hook them with Ethernet cables, you know, like Cat 6, Cat 8, whatever, and the whole deal. You got to have nice, strong energy. You have to be able to cool those miners because they run hot.
You're going to have run an AC because it's like a server room.
Yeah, it is. It's like servers, basically. So these miners are the servers that process, well, they host the Bitcoin software, the free and open source software, and that you create what's called a node. So now you're running like a full node, so you get all the transactions coming in, and these miners compete to process the transactions on the network. Every 10 minutes is a new block.
And whoever wins
gets rewarded in Bitcoin, which is already based on the tokenomics of the code. That's why they hacked the encryption code. It's not just tech. It's like free market capitalism woven into it.
Okay, so we know how complicated that is because most people understand server rooms and how everything goes. But so we know how, like what you just explained is probably a little costly. I mean, it's going to cost you money to do it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to cool it down because those shits overheat. The other thing too is that just explain why you could just go into like a gas station. They have Bitcoin ATMs. Like, why would do that versus that?
Yeah. Well, that's the infrastructure. You put your debit card in now, ATM, you get cash out, right? Well, when there's no cash, because 94% of fiat money is already digital, we're pretty much there. When there's no cash, then what do you do?
Which makes sense because if you have a regular job, you get a paycheck. They're not giving you $2,000. They're giving you a paycheck. Then it goes in the bank. Then you pay online.
Yeah.
You don't just stack money. That's not. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but anyway,
why does that exist? It's infrastructure. So like every time you go to a gas station, a supermarket, wherever, they got the little thing where you chip your phone and type in your PIN. That's all connected to Ethernet. So just like that, you can switch it to Bitcoin or whatever crypto they decide. CBDCs, it's really up to the people. That's why this is the last stand. Like, are you going to stand up and like do the research and wake up? Because if you don't, then there's going to be a few of us that did it that are going to thrive like incredibly well, right? With privacy coins especially. But then the masses are going to suffer, dude, like tremendously if they don't learn about this technology. They'll be forced to bend the knee to a central bank digital crypto, which
they're trying to do.
Doesn't have to happen.
Which is interesting too. It's ironic too because they're trying to get the central bank crypto, but at the same time, the government is also buying a ton of Bitcoin. They're stacking it. They have bullets. They have Bitcoin. You don't know what they're doing.
That's why they're okay.
And the interesting thing about Bitcoin too that you guys don't know, and I don't think Doge has it, and I don't think any of the other ones do, but Bitcoin, the way it was created, is for 21 million coins, not one extra, not one less. So there is a finite supply, right?
Yeah.
And you were talking about the fact that they can divide, too, right?
To the 8th decimal point.
Right.
Right, because if you look up a byte, I should just pull it up. All right, a unit of data equal to 8 bits, infinity. 21 million is all you need. Divisible to the 8th decimal point.
Is that why the first real video game system, the Nintendo, was 8-bit?
8-bit, was it? Could be.
Wow.
Truth bombs. Yeah, I actually realized this like recently. I googled byte and I'm like, huh, why is that? Because let's break down what Bitcoin actually is. Bitcoin. So I can't claim that I'm the expert on this. I learned this from my mentors, like Rafael Laverde, the crypto vigilante. And when he broke this down, I was like, okay, I get it. Bitcoin, now it makes sense. It's not just a currency. It's byte, computational power. It's the new internet. It's the decentralized new internet. Because thank you, DARPA, we got what we have now, the internet. It's not free. It's completely monitored. It's completely centralized. So this Aquarian Age is all about freedom and decentralization. That's why they created Bitcoin. The infamous they, the gatekeepers. We can speculate as to who that is, but I believe they're the good guys. So Jack Lew, when he first fell in love with Bitcoin, read the white paper around 2010. And
explain the white paper, but do it really quickly, though.
Well, I mean, it's like 11 pages.
Right.
It's so easy to read. Anyone can read it. It's not like looking at the code of Bitcoin, but it tells you, like, the purpose of it. Peer-to-peer digital currency, and, I mean, it just kind of breaks it down, and you can kind of see, okay, this is important. Now, I was telling you guys I was so close. So I was to Magic the Gathering trading cards. Just like the artwork and stuff. Well, there was an online trading card game where you can play the cards online and stuff. That was the first way you could get Bitcoin, other than mining it, So when it first came out in 2009 with the white paper and came out, you could get it on Mt. Gox, MTGOX, which eventually got hacked and people lost everything. Just about. There's still lawsuits paying out some stuff today. Like, it's never getting that shit back. But yeah, I was so close to buying the Bitcoin and just even discovering it in 2010 or whatever. That's how it started. But in the beginning, people fell in love with Bitcoin when they had the context to understand why it was important, when they knew that fiat currency has never stood the test of time, and now that's not backed by God's money, precious metals, it's definitely going to stand the test of time. So people saw there was a problem, saw that table.
That's what they did. They took it off the precious metals and they put it on the oil. And now other countries are taking our dollar off the oil. We used to invade them and kill their leaders, Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, people who tried to create gold currencies.
Yeah.
Now, like, China's off it, and other African countries are coming off it. We can't invade them all.
Russia's on it.
Russia's off it.
On it.
On the U.S. on the petrodollar?
No. Russia has created their own.
Yes, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. They're not.
Yep.
What propped up our money was that we were trading oil throughout the world. In it's called the petrodollar, which was the U.S. dollar, because Nixon took us off the gold and silver, backing the dollar. Just go to Google and look up a bill from 1910, from like 1910 before the Federal Reserve. It says this is redeemable by, $1 is redeemable for $1 worth of gold. It says on the dollar bill. You could go to the bank, give them $1, silver. Go to the bank, give them $1, and they will give you silver or gold for it. Yeah. Now what does it say on the dollar? This is for all debts, legal and tender. Oh, public and private. Right? It's just debt trading. So.
I had to flip to page 16. Because if you examine currency throughout history, money began with theism, the belief that a higher power will solve our problems. So the transformation of money starts with that, and now it's evolved into humanism, a belief that humans will solve our problems, right? Nixon took it off of God's money, now in people we trust or whatever. Now it's evolving into dataism, the belief that data will solve our problems, right? Shifting from a belief, Piscean or faith-based value, to an irrefutable mathematical value. Blockchain is the tech that will facilitate this data management. The dataism, the transformation of money, before I was page 16. So, like, these Bitcoin developers, they weren't just any Bitcoin developers. They're guys that have been bullied, beaten down, and told they were wrong for over a decade as they watched their asset crumble in price, never regaining an all-time high since 2017. That is Bitcoin SV, Satoshi's Vision. So it all comes back to who created Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, who's really behind it. And now that I believe it is the good guys, and they have a plan that is following God's undertakings, that is in alignment with the New World Order for the Age of Aquarius, then I believe that the true Bitcoin remains to be seen by the majority of people. That's why you've seen BTC, which was hard forked in 2017, or 2016, 2017, right? As Bitcoin was like approaching 20K, Craig Wright, probably on Team Satoshi, was like, no, this can't go on. You know, because what happened was the core devs of the Bitcoin core, right, all free, open source, voluntary, you know, it's good. Well, someone's lying in their pockets. Probably starts with big tech, you know, and if you want to look more esoteric, it's probably not fully human, right? So, and it had to, right? So Bitcoin was hard forked, the code was copied. Then you have BTC, now you have ETFs, you got Wall Street, well, not really ETFs for spot, but you got futures trading like Grayscale, GBTC, you know, and Wall Street's all on board. Yeah, Bitcoin, right? The whole ebb and flow of like Bitcoin's bad, Bitcoin's good, that's all just every narrative, you know? They'll do that with Bitcoin, right? And it's all deception. It's like Kramer kind of deception. Like, look here so you don't look there. So Bitcoin's not going away. They're all about it. But what they have to do is they have to derail people from actually looking into the Bitcoin technology, the bits, the computational power, and only focus on the coin aspect of Bitcoin. Raphael says this all the time. The coin aspect is the currency. It's the Satoshis, divisible to the 8th decimal point, limited to 21 million, which creates scarcity, a part of sound fungible money. So you got to have scarcity, just like precious metals were in place. But what's more efficient than digital, right? This is the new internet. We need a money for the new internet. So Bitcoin provides the tech, the decentralized infrastructure, and the currency. And within the code is the tokenomics of free market capitalism that will support true peer-to-peer decentralized exchange for all of humanity, all over the world, anyone who has access to internet. Right, so here's the benefits of Bitcoin SV, right, which is trading right now for almost 33 bucks. When my song comes out on Friday the 13th.
Can you explain
33.
that? Because people think Bitcoin is worth $27,000, $30,000 right now.
They're supposed to, right? Because it's the inversion of the truth. Like Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision, its original design is the truth. Why? Because those core devs that got it and hijacked and forked it. Not forked it, but just took BTC, right? They limited the block size to 4 megabytes. 4 megabytes! Can't do nothing with that, man. Like, how is it going to scale for humanity?
Atari.
Yeah, Atari, exactly.
Can you explain the B going one way, and that's like what most people I feel like would understand.
Well, yeah, I mean, so this here is Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision, like the original design. So BSV just is the Bitcoin straight up, like in the middle, just alignment. You know, vertical, chakras, the whole deal, toroidal field. Like, now, BTC is inverted, slanted.
Everyone knows it's inverted.
Bitcoin Cash is inverted, slanted, right?
This is the one that's straight
It's
up
not
and
centered. It's not the balanced view. You know, and so really...
By the way, 4 megabytes?
Yeah, 4 megabytes.
So most, like, vibrators have computers that are stronger than that. Just so you know.
Yeah.
4 megabytes is like...
Something like that.
I can't handle the
4
vibration.
megabytes is like, you can't run anything.
So what we know is that Bitcoin SV, it can process up to 100 megabytes per block. And each block is really just transactions. This wallet to this wallet, bam. Okay, let's process it, you know. But every 10 minutes there's a new block. And it pushes through all the transactions that are in line. But the cool thing about Bitcoin is that, like, if there's more transactions, like, it scales automatically. It just adjusts. And Monero does that too. There's called a minor adjustment. So if it's all jammed up with transactions, well, then you just pay a little more to the miners, a little more, like fractions of it to Satoshi, and then it pushes through all the transactions.
So what do you see when you see those guys that have like, let's just say this was just like an easel or something, right?
Yeah.
And you see like 400 phones and they're all doing shit on it. Is that what they're doing? They're mining through the phones?
Well, there's certain technologies that can do GPU, like on smartphones, tablets, and computers. A project like Cortal, which is not even listed yet, that I'm working on transitioning this site to, can do that. but Bitcoin is powered by these SHA-256 miners in these warehouses. So the phones, like, because a full node of Bitcoin has all the transactions of all time in it. So it can be a few gigabytes, 8, 10 gigabytes, I think, something like that. So you can't really just, it's a lot for a phone.
Right.
But it really is like the infrastructure of these warehouses, these miners that are really the freedom fighters, you know, building the new internet, sustaining it, getting rewarded, right? They get paid in Bitcoin every time they win that transaction, pushing that block through and all those transactions. Mm-hmm. So these are just some benefits of BSV. Now, Bitcoin is the largest decentralized mining operation of any crypto project out of now 10,000 plus that exist already. It was the first advantage, first mover, and they've done it, you know. It's Turing complete. That's more of a technical computer science term. Turing complete means it's a fucking supercomputer. Like, you can program it to do anything as long as you got the energy and the miners to back it up. So
right.
The other thing is there's no layer 2 solutions. Think about lightning, symbol of Lucifer, the fallen angel.
Right.
Now, for BTC, the one that went up 70 grand, oh shit, it's 28 grand.
Yeah.
It functions because of something called Lightning Network, created by a company called Blockstream.io or whatever. Lizards, man. Big tech. No, because seriously, what they did was, it's like this fucking Band-Aid solution that, like, it's like an astral plane that goes over top of Bitcoin, and it settles all the transactions off the chain. So on-chain is what you want. You want to use Bitcoin and the miners to process every transaction. And if you're not doing that, you're not secure, and you're basically cheating the system.
That's what they've been doing all along. So they're just trying to interject what they've already been doing
Exactly.
back into this new.
That's right.
Well,
Yeah,
sort of
it's a middleman, right? Because Blockstream
That's what they do.
could stop a transaction,
Yeah.
but if you're using Bitcoin, its original design on-chain, you can't stop it. There's nothing you can. You give me your wallet address, and I'm like, I'm gonna send you 10 grand worth of Bitcoin. It's coming to you eventually. You know, no one can stop that unless I put in the wrong digit and you don't get any of it, and I lose it all. Gotta be careful, you know. Like, the UI right now for crypto is still like early adopter, and the fact that the real Bitcoin is like $33 a coin is like, it's like the real opportunity. Okay, so that's called a layer 2 solution. All right, and Ethereum has a lot of trouble too with scaling. They need these layer 2. They don't need them. Those are just the middlemen and big tech coming in to hijack it. So you don't need that with BSV, right? So it's the true Web3, and the way that Bitcoin is so beautiful is that it's about Bitcoiners helping Bitcoiners, and now you work for Bitcoin. That's the difference. If your product, services, education is now on the Bitcoin network, I want to see you succeed. I want to see you earn more Bitcoin, have in your wallet, transact it, earn it. Because if I'm holding Bitcoin, it goes up in value because it's scarce to 21 million. That's a supply and demand issue. Yeah.
I'm just wondering why that specific number, because
Why Bitcoin's 21 million?
21 million total Bitcoins. Yeah.
Why is it 21
Why
million
that number?
Bitcoin?
It's something esoteric, man.
It has to be.
I'm not really sure.
Everything is spiritual. I just don't see it right now.
You'd have to look at the gematria behind that for sure. But Ethereum, like, this is CoinGecko. So if you ever want to look at any crypto, go to CoinGecko.com. And it tells you the market cap, that's how much money's in it now, all-time high, all-time low. And then usually has the max supply. The whole point of this is that, like, is to get people's attention to look into the technology, the Bitcoin, like I just broke down for you guys. Because if you did, you see guys like Jack Liu and Xiaowei Liu and these brilliant Bitcoin developers that take S-script, right? They take the actual native code that's given with Bitcoin, right? And they can literally build anything. They can program any smart contract, which is the biggest sell for Ethereum. You want to buy your house on crypto, Bitcoin, you can program it. You sell a car, you know, all that stuff. So the thing is that Bitcoin in its original design is never gonna become what it's meant to be and disrupt and decentralize the sectors of evil that exist today. If people don't like start learning about the tech and like playing with it and using it, and it's a term called hyper Bitcoinization, coined by Daniel Krawisz.
And that's what you do in your book, The Last Stand, right?
Yeah, I educate all this stuff in there, and I point out.
So you do what I basically do. You take this extraordinarily complex subject, and you make it very easy for people to read.
66 pages.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
And then the songs sum it up even faster, like you said. You know, I'm really trying to blow through all this.
So to make it even simpler, buy BSV.
Yeah. I mean, so again, I think capitulation is coming, like we've talked about. If people don't wake up, then the gatekeepers of this realm have no reason but to push them as far back against the wall until they bend the knee and come back to source. So they have to lose everything. You have to own nothing and be happy, realizing that all it is, has been, never will be is consciousness. Nothing material, actually. It's all an illusion, a hologram. So, like, if you can't just have that internal peace of, like, within your awareness and yourself, self-realized, then you're just not fit for the Aquarian Age. So you're going to get wiped out financially and then eventually physically. And that's why there will be a lot of death, unfortunately, because people are stubborn. They're like Lucifer, you know, pride, ego, the fallen angel. You have to humble yourself before God. And I have a whole process of doing that with the 5 sciences, which I'll just gloss over. You guys already get it, but, you know, basically you have Metatron's cube here, and then, you know, we got the esoteric, what Wicca, paganism. I mean, it's all earth, Mother Nature, medicine, but there's 5 elements, right? And each of those are inspired by one of the 5 platonic solids, or building blocks of the universe, of all creation. So if you ever had, like, plant medicine, you can see these shapes and colors in real time in everything. You know, so it's part of how information and energy connects and builds what we perceive to be a physical reality.
Can I add something too on the
Please.
pentagram?
Yeah.
Boris Erickson, who is kind of one of the OGs in the, you know, understanding the law part of the spiritual side that we've all come through. He goes through an amazing, mind-blowing presentation on an energy diagram that is where you get the O-pentogram, open. So the whole market, all the flow of energy and current is based on that diagram.
Wow.
So here this whole time we've been basically deceived in seeing what the symbolism of these things are, right? When in reality, he shows how the flow of energy actually moves through that, and it blew my mind. I was like, he said that's where you get the word open, and I went, oh my gosh.
Wow.
'Cause that's why you're open for business, right?
Open for business.
Yes. So that symbol now, it looks completely different to me, that when
Right.
you have someone that has a different
When you
comprehension.
talk about astrology too, what is the sign in Aries? What month, Priscilla?
March,
And
April.
who's Italian in here? You guys know what the word apri means? A-P-R-I? It means to open. This is why it opens the new year.
Abre, like Spanish.
Oh,
Yeah.
abre.
Abre, yeah.
This is why it opens the year.
Got it.
That's why Aries opens the year, the
Like
new
beginning
year.
of the year.
Yeah.
Understood.
Amazing.
Okay, nice.
All right, so New Year's Eve, Aries,
I always say
March,
that.
or is it
Eve and
December
Aries.
31st? No. Yeah, so, you know, I don't know. This is the artwork for the Aquarian EP, which is like the first 5 songs I think in history that really embody like the struggle of embracing the Aquarian Age. What I've gone through, that obviously he has a whole book series about, based on one of the songs that are now attributed to you, the Rabbit Hole. You know what I mean? So it's like a bunch of information is only, it's cool, you know, but like eventually you got to come back to the music and ground it down. And I just want to keep in mind, like anyone that's seeing this, like I didn't know all this to be true when I had these nudges of intuition, and when something piqued my interest. I was just a seeker, and I saw it at the edge of the earth to figure out what was true. And I'm still open if I'm wrong in some way. But it all came to be. So if you trust like your intuition and just start going, you'll find your way. So master the fire science of spirit, right? That's a tetrahedron, the triangle. It's a fire element. I think that's like comes first. You know, it's like you trip on mushrooms or something. Like, oh my God, I see heaven. I get it. You know, but then it's gone. What the hell did I even see? So there's a process in your awakening. Well, you know, part of your awakening process is bringing heaven to earth and grounding it down, which takes time and application. But really, what you're grounding down is spirit. That's all that is, has been, ever will be, right? So that's the first one. Then you realize, damn, it's so hard to ground this down. Well, it's my body. That's how I do it. So you got to master the earth science of the body, realizing that everything is energy, that trace minerals are intentionally taken from our food. So you got to supplement with those first and foremost. You have to realize it's a technological age, and all technology that I'm surrounded by all the time is emitting frequency and radiation that can be too much for the human body. You know, so you got to take breaks. So you get in nature. I use a nuclear receptor by Dr. Fred Bell that actually takes the EMFs and ELFs, transmutes them through this crystal, right? And the sterling silver absorbs the radiation, the most of all the metals, and before it even gets to my auric field. You know, so there's tools to do this stuff. I don't want to not use my AirPods. I love them. You know, so I do things to supplement. You know, and test the strength of my body, because I need to be able to ground down the spiritual awareness to be able to teach it and share it and celebrate it. And of course, medicinal mushrooms are just, I mean, didn't you see the shirt? I mean, need I say more, right? Say less. So, yeah, that's the receptor. There's 7 interchangeable gemstones with the super receptor, and I partnered with
I love that.
Megan Bell, Dr. Fred Bell's daughter. He's up there in the corner there. Beautiful man. Genius. And a genius for humanity. And yeah, 10% off. Or get on the mailing list and get 30% off from time to time.
And who is his father?
Well, not his father, but he is a descendant of Alexander Graham Bell.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
an inventor.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's in his lineage, and yeah, it's wild. And then there's the trace minerals that I use from also called Pyrrolite. So next up, Master the Air, Science of the Mind. We saw this with Black Lives Matter, with the masking. Everything was a ritual to basically, determine who will honor the breath, which is, without the breath of life, there's no prana, spirit, chi, it's all the same. One thing I've really learned with plant medicines, and it was DMT that really taught me this the most, was how connected your breath is with your thoughts. What you're thinking and feeling emotionally, energy and motion, connected with your breath is literally how you manifest things in real time, in the now moment. It's like the secret.
I made a video on this. You guys are familiar with the Yud Hey Vav Hey, Yahweh? Let me do it real quick. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
Please, yeah.
All right. So you have.
We should whiteboard it, man. We got this.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that
Yeah, right here.
I'm going to show you this. I'm going to explain this to you. So you have. And this is why it's important to know Hebrew. You have the Yud. No, this is not.
I don't know. That's kind of annoying. He needs like a lapel mic or something.
Show him your text, dude. It's on the text.
Oh, yeah. Right. You're right.
Okay. So look, this is the Yud, the Hey, the Vav, the Hey. Okay. This is.
Oh, that's it.
The word is. They say it's Yahweh. It's actually not Yahweh. This is a Y. This is a Y. This is a H. This is a V. This is a H. Yehovah. Yehovah. Right? Jehovah. This is why Jay-Z calls himself Hova. Jehovah. Because he knows this. Or at least whoever told him to do it knows this.
Right.
This is the name of God. Right? When you get deep into Kabbalah and you get deep into the mystical sciences, you realize, or they teach you, that this is not actually a word. You can't actually say the name of God. What it is this is the breath work. It's so how can you deny God when everything that keeps you alive, every breath, is the name of God? And one thing even further.
Spirit.
Look at this. What you'll find out is that the name of God here too. What you'll find here is that the name of God here too is actually, this is the old Phoenician Canaanite Hebrew. There's no actual Hebrew language. It's Phoenician Canaanite. This is actually a code. Okay? When you read the original Old Testament, the Bible itself was not supposed to be broken down into lines, pages, chapters. It's supposed to be one long strand. Okay? When you read this, when you look at this, you realize it's all spiritual. This is the Yud. This is God up in the ether. Then this is on earth. This is man. This is man's child. This is child growing up.
What?
This is man. Child grown up. This is child's child. Yeah. This is the process of life. This is God.
Wow. In all things, not just human. Yeah. What? Damn, dude, that was epic. I want to make sure we got that on camera. Oh yeah, we did right here. All right, cool.
Very good.
So that's what
That's
it
going to be
is.
a truth bomb clip.
Yeah,
That's basically what it is. It's the breath. How can you deny God when you speak His name just by surviving?
Breathing.
You're saying God's name in every breath.
Yeah.
And then this is it. It's God creates man. Man creates child. Child grows up. Child becomes man. Child has child. It's the process of life. That's all it is.
Yep. That's why the ultimate test was the masks. You know.
Yeah, on the breath. Wow.
Yeah, it was an attack on spirit.
Yeah.
Or was it an attack or a test of where are you in this realm of spirit?
Why do you think we just got hit with a respiratory virus?
Yeah. There's a book too called The Science of Breath, where it actually teaches you how to pretty much heal every ailment.
You can have, you can have. That's how you.
Because it's energy.
We've talked about this.
You take more energy through air than you do through food.
Carrie, we've talked about this too before. We've talked about the breathing can it spontaneously create a Kundalini experience.
Yeah.
If I'm correct.
Or a DMT trip.
Yeah.
Similar to dying, you know.
Like Wim Hof, you get high on your own supply because you literally it sends the energy through everything all at once, and you're feeling.
Well, Wim Hof is the guy that does the ice challenges, right? He gets into the buckets of ice. What happens when you lower your body temperature like that is to that extreme, is you feel a euphoria. Is what happens. Endorphins get released. The other thing that happens is as your body is, if you're in that cold for that long, that kind of cold, like his cold tanks that he does with the ice and everything, if you're in there that long, as you start to become hypothermic, you actually get very warm. In fact, when people are hiking or they're climbing the mountains and they're about to die, you'll find a lot of them just take their clothes off. You find them naked because they feel completely hot. But yeah, when you lower the body temperature, it's a feeling of euphoria. That's what it basically is. It slows everything down.
Wow. Okay.
You certainly don't feel euphoric while you're doing it for 10 minutes, but afterwards you feel fantastic.
Your energy levels go way up.
Oh yeah, I do it. It's awesome.
My God. And just to supplement the earth science of the body, the reason being is because everything is energy and can be measured by frequency and vibration. So it operates on a field of high density and low density. Right, and that's the chakras, like the larger density, very dense emotions, fear, hate, greed, survival, root chakra, safety. We're really in a root chakra epidemic, as even Micah agreed. Like, yeah, I've been saying that, you know. But that's why breath is so much easier to process than the information in spirit, because it's the least dense thing that we can process. Maybe other than just light from the sun, you know. So really, the actual food pyramid is working from a place of like, how dense do I want to be? How dense do I need to be? Like, where am I grounding and bringing heaven to earth? You know, and it's really having control of your mind. It's mind mastery, the conscious, subconscious, and the superconscious, the all mind, right? So awareness of your breath, what you're thinking and feeling on each inhale and each exhale is how you manifest and move thoughts into form for anything you want to create in your lifetime. So the mind can be medicine if you have control of it and discipline. Also, I've been able to create insane stuff because I don't want to call myself a visionary, but like of all the teams I've been in, like I always have a vision. I get the download. I can see it from start to finish, you know. Or not completely. The how isn't always clear, but I see the end goal. I'm like, yeah, okay. And anyone can practice that, and they should every day in your daily ritual. After your meditation, you get your breath work in, a bit of stretching, yoga. That's when you want to just like, in gratitude, just imagine like the life as if, not as if as if you were living it, but as if you already were, as is. And so critical thinking and Black Lives Matter. That's why I wrote this song, I Can Breathe, you know, on the Aquarian EP, because, you know, wake up, like, it's all good. Next up is Master the Water Science of Passion. Why does passion precede purpose? Because it does. It leads to purpose. Like, you're not just going to, like, I know what I'm here to do in this lifetime, like, off the bat. Maybe some people, like Amma, are just, like, self-realized as a young, out the womb, you know? But, like, ultimately, you just got to throw shit at a wall and see what sticks. Don't be afraid to pick up some drumsticks and beat around for a week or two and be like, it's for me, it's not for me. You know, try things. And you'll know, like, if it doesn't feel like work, like, keep going with it, you know, and see where it takes you. And eventually you land at purpose, because if you master any skill set, and I learned this with drums, I had a passion for it, but I knew I was meant to be singing and writing songs and, you know, leading crowds, like from the stage front, not from a seat. But drums taught me the discipline that comes from literally having focus and ambition, sacrifice, making compromises on things you want to do for things you need to do to actually be great at something. It's like how you do anything is how you do everything. So run with a passion that resonates, master it, and then from there you can literally take on anything else and master it even faster. And you know, once you have that clarity of, okay, this is my purpose, so I kind of need to learn this skill and that skill. Law of 10,000 hours, 3 to 5 years for mastery. So really, a passion should make your heart sing. Like when I get out of bed, like I want to do it. You know, like there's no resistance, doesn't feel like work. And the obvious thing is, as Derek here has been saying, hydrogen water and distilled water are really like the cutting edge of clean water. So you can use an Alexa Pure or Berkey, or even the Amazon filters that are like certified are pretty decent and they're way cheaper. I recommend it. And lastly, where this is all going is to master the ethereal science of purpose. And Micah was one of the few people, or the only person that really helped me realize how important. He's like, yeah, because the gatekeepers are testing and challenging people from tapping into the ether, because it's the end and the beginning. It's everything, right? It's the purpose. So like, if you're going to get that deep and you know, have that much conviction in it, in yourself and all of it, then there's a lot of personal mastery leading up to that place. So what I found is everyone's purpose is unique, and psychedelics are tools, but they can't be crutches unless you're a shaman and like that's your gift and passion to bring and deliver in a healthy way, a safe way. Cool. But more often than not, you don't even need psychedelics, and if you do, you just come back to the medicine when you're called to it. You don't force it. And then you study astrology or astrology, which is like logging the stars, right? And to be unwavering. Yeah, man, because it's so hard to be love and be yourself. It's always been. It won't always be. But you can't count on your parents or even your partner, definitely not your friends, to really understand who you are and what you're here to do. Only you. That's between you and God, man. So they got to get real with the ether, and that's how you tap into it here with that dodecahedron, which is like just, damn, I think there's like 48 angles in it, angels. You know, it's like, it's a lot. So yeah, no matter what, just remember to breathe, be love, and be you. This is the last stand. Like, basically what I'm noticing in real time is that if you're not in alignment with the will of God, if you're not using your gift of free will of choice as a co-creator to go through these 5 sciences, to master your spirit, body, mind, passions, and ultimately your purpose, then it's not me that's saying it, but Spirit is saying, like, you won't be fit for the Age of Aquarius. Like, you won't survive enough to live in this amazing time to be alive. So it's very serious. It's very urgent. It's very exciting. There's nothing to fear or be afraid of. But just know that if you don't take a stand right now, then you're already late. You may have missed it even. So the time is now. The sooner everybody wakes up and awakens to their truth, the truth, the sooner we can realize peace, prosperity, and abundance and equality like we've never seen it in 90 days. It can be done.
It's the 100th monkey effect. You know how quick that is? And also, the interesting thing is, they've done psychological studies on this. They've done deep dives into this. You don't actually need to change the mind of everyone to make a change. You don't.
15%?
20.
Wow.
All you need to do
80-20
is
rule?
all you need to do.
Is that it?
All you got to do is get 20% of the people on board, and it will filter. It will filter down the stream, and then it's the 100th monkey effect. It's not going to be our generation, but we're doing things for the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, Math.
Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining to everyone Bitcoin a little bit. I think we're going to take a couple-minute break, and then I'll come back and introduce you both.
That's how the story goes down.